Yo, 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 what up, everybody? It's your boy DJ Rowe. Another edition of Global History Night.
Global History Night with
Yes.
Anna and DJ Rowe.
Yes.
It's been a little while.
It's been a bit.
Yeah.
But we back on it now.
Yeah. I'm very pleased. Very pleased. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we go a little while without doing a show and then we're back. And there's even more going on.
Yes. Woo! Never have a mic close to a speaker.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know. And you've been doing well. Roselle's doing a couple other shows too. So yeah. DJ's been busy.
Very busy. So what you got for us today, Anna?
Okay. Why don't you start us off? Okay, Nipsey Hussle.
Yes.
Okay.
She went right into it, I see.
Well, yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Really?
Nah.
Well, it was a trip because, okay, I had material relating to Nipsey Hussle before I knew who he was.
Right.
Okay, because of Eritrea. I did not know who Nipsey Hussle was. And rest in peace. So I see my friends posting about this rapper getting killed, and it's very sad. And then I see Eritrean American, and I was just, wow. I mean, that is intense. That's unusual. I mean, that's a really powerful heritage, and so I already had information about Eritrea down that I was going to be talking about. And let me just go back because we've talked about Eritrea. Ethiopia, who we'll be talking about also. We like to talk about him, and there's even more news about him. And Eritrea, so that was some movement. That was very positive for Eritrea, and they opened the border. Eritrea, so there's been some movement there, and people have been able to cross the border and see each other. And I mean movement so far as liberty. Eritrea has no free press, and they have compulsory military service that's indefinite. I mean, so there's all sorts of people that the government in Eritrea just conscript, just signs them up and keeps them. And there was a 10-year war. 12-year war with Ethiopia. So I guess they needed all those soldiers for that. But we talk about migrants a lot, and a lot of migrants are from Ethiopia. I mean, are from Eritrea. And I had happened to be starting off with some information about migrants, because we've talked about people trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea and trying to get to Italy, and Italy not admitting them. And even though one of the reasons Italy had colonized that area, so it's one of the reasons that things are bad in those areas. It's one of the reasons people are trying to get away. But the far right in Italy is basically just saying no. There was, and then there was going to be there's a far right minister named Matteo Salvini, and a criminal case was brought against him for refusing to allow migrants to disembark from a rescue ship, and he sought immunity, and he argued that he acted in the interest of Italians when he stopped the 177 passengers, mostly from Eritrea, from landing in Catania. And he had previously said he was ready to be tried and proud of it, and, quote, having defended the country from illegal immigrants. And but Italy's Senate has voted to block the criminal case against him. So, okay, so we have this guy blocking migrants from getting into Italy, and it's the same thing that is happening on our southern border. I mean, not exactly the same, but these people are seeking amnesty, and international law says if somebody is seeking amnesty, you have to admit them. So Trump and the Italian premiers really get along. So one of the things that has happened in that area was so we've talked about this before, that there's a dispute. So there's aid ships that go out and try and rescue migrants, and some of them have been shot at by government ships. I mean, there's people that don't want them to be doing it, and what has happened is the EU has blocked rescues at sea. So what's happened is when people are rescued at sea, they're supposed to be brought back. They're supposed to be brought back to Libya on the coast of Africa, and the EU is paying Libya for that. And Libya, it's one of the places that people are trying to escape from because it's had a terrible civil war, and the refugee camps in Libya are terrible. A study was just released showing that there's torture, and that rape is routine, both of women and men, and smugglers. So these people smugglers, torture migrants, and they film the attacks on Skype to try and extract ransom money from their families. So this is what happens when the EU sends people back to Libya. And they're paying for it. So the Libyan Coast Guard has they're not even just so-called rescuing people. They're hijacking people. They have an incentive to pick up these people and bring them back because they're making money off of it. So there was one of the aid ships was hijacked because the migrants, when the migrants find out that they're being taken back to Libya, they don't want to go, and so they took over the boat, which was pretty scary for the captain. And these people sailing these boats, they're just trying to help. I mean, but when you're trying to help, they're trying to help desperate people, and desperate people are dangerous. I mean, desperate people are gonna do whatever they need to do. So those are some of the people that will have been listening to Nipsey Hussle. See, that's what I've been tripping out about this all week, because people are really trying to get away from Eritrea. If they anybody from anybody that's tried to like express themselves is in trouble with the government. People that don't want to that want to get away from the forced military service. So anyway, so Nipsey Hussle has been a really big deal in Eritrea, and he's visited there. And I know the guy like does stuff in his community, which is very cool. But I mean, a lot of people do that. I mean, that's great that he, there's a lot of very cool programs in communities, and they're the ones, I mean, the only reason we don't know more about them is because the media would rather report on shootings. So he did all this stuff, and you want to fill in what he did in his name? He set up education centers and stuff, right?
You talking about Nipsey Hussle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did that. He also had a couple of like clothing stores, businesses. They also said, but I didn't confirm it, that he ended up doing like land structuring, like building. I don't know if it was homes or helping to build up neighborhoods.
Yeah. Well, that's the sort of thing. I mean, he went and set up educational programs and stuff in Eritrea. Right. Yeah, and that is just huge. That makes such a big difference to people. And I've been following Eritreans on Twitter, and it's not just Eritrea. That area of the world is called, or Eritrea, the nationality of people is Habesha, and that's Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Somalia. So there's a lot of stuff on Twitter and in the African publications saying, our Habesha brother has, rest in peace, and people are just very proud of him, and it's just very significant that for people in Eritrea that he came back and wanted to spend time there.
Right.
And the foreign minister of Eritrea has tweeted his condolences, and there's photos of Nipsey Hussle met the president of Eritrea. So it's just very, very sad. I mean, he was going to be meeting with the LAPD to talk about gang reduction the day before he was shot dead.
You know what's weird about this, though? You didn't hear anything about none of this until he died.
Oh, no.
Nobody really knew nothing about this. And I mean, I know about Nipsey Hussle, but to me, he wasn't really that big of a rapper.
Yeah.
Until now. Now he's a big rapper. But he
well,
wasn't
that's
really...
what died. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm saying even like, let's just say Tupac, for instance.
Yeah.
Tupac was still kind of big before he died. Biggie was still...
Yeah.
Nipsey Hussle really wasn't a big rapper.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't know who he was, and I mean, I know who the famous people are. But my daughter said that Nipsey Hussle, that she posted on Facebook, this is like Tupac for my generation. I was like, oh, and so then Age posted something. Our friend posted something about saying no, it isn't. But I wrote underneath it. He was just posting like all these people.
I personally wouldn't put him at Tupac status.
Yeah. But well, I just put, and I wouldn't have said anything about it either way. But Age posted something about that, so I posted underneath it. I was like, well, my daughter says.
Yeah. But there was another rapper last year. I forgot his name. Extension or some weird dude, and everybody said the same thing. He was like Tupac.
Really?
Dude, I forgot this dude's name.
Okay,
and I used to see that last year, and I know younger dudes like this dude because this dude wasn't even with our group.
Yeah.
And I'm like, seems like every rapper that dies has to be.
Well,
Tupac.
yeah, that doesn't make it, because I mean, people knew people. I mean, my family knew who Tupac was
you see
before
the
he
difference,
died.
though?
Oh yeah, I mean that's why.
There's really not a lot of people that if before this, if we can rewind time right now,
yeah,
and I can go to a lot of these people on Facebook and say, "Yeah, what do you think of Nipsey Hussle?" Who's Nipsey Hussle?
I don't think
they wouldn't even know who he is. Now they all know who he is because everything about him came out.
Yeah. So, but I mean, in Ethiopia, they really know who he.
Yeah, and see, that's a good thing that I like is really that he went back to his roots, and so he's kept it with them, so they all know him.
Yeah,
they're like, and that's good. That's a good thing.
It's
that's
really
what you're supposed
amazing,
to do.
and that's just. I mean, you think about rap is like this music that people can relate to. It's like that they feel it's music that people feel is expressing their reality, and so I mean, for people in Eritrea to have somebody expressing their reality and getting all that exposure is just amazing. And so I've been talking about this a lot. I mean, Eritrea. So so another thing that happened. Okay, so remember we were talking about this was something else I had down before Nipsey Hussle died. So about Eritrea. Okay, so we were talking about that compulsory military service and.
Oh, let me put this out there before you continue, and then I'm busting out her show, but Anna keeps up on her history. She knew about Eritreans before Nipsey Hussle. I just want everybody to know that.
Yeah.
This isn't just a Nipsey Hussle thing. She started looking up. She already knew this.
Yeah.
I just had to let everybody know that.
Sure.
This ain't just like because Nipsey Hussle died, you did all this work to look it up.
Yeah. Well, you did too. Hey, people that listen to the show know. Because we've talked about Eritrea here before. Right. So yeah, we were ahead of the curve.
I just want people to understand that.
That's right. Yeah, we have. So there's compulsory military service, and the EU is backing a road building project as part of its program to stem migration from Africa into Europe. And so national service recruits will be used, and the Foundation for Human Rights for Eritreans says the conscripts, are that basically they're going to be using forced labor to do this, are trapped for an indefinite period within the service. I mean, it's like if, it's kind of, I don't know, I mean, it's like if we forced, I don't know, I mean, it's kind of like if we forced, I mean, it's a whole different society, because I know there's a lot of people that have problems with labor in prison in the U.S., and that's just a whole different issue. But this is supposed to be military. I don't know, man. It's like if you kept made the National Guard, it's like if people that signed up for the National Guard got sent to go build a road and were told that they couldn't get out. So, but this makes it that Europe is basically cooperating with Eritrea in this basic enslavement. So their claim, and so the EU is claiming that is not the people that are going to be building their roads. So we'll see. But I mean, the reason that things are all fucked up is because the Europeans were there in the first place, and now they're trying to keep people out and sending them to prison camps to get raped on Skype, and this is really, really dreadful. Okay, and in Eritrea had been, again colonized by the Italians. The Italians released poison gas in Eritrea in the 1930s, and it's like.
So is Eritrea were they into that same war? Because didn't Ethiopia and And Italy have a war
Yeah.
at one point?
Well, yeah, because Italy took over the area, took over that whole area, and at the time, Eritrea was part of. Eritrea got independence from Ethiopia in 1993. I mean, it was the whole area at the time. It wasn't like differentiated at the time. I think.
So Eritrea and Ethiopia were both in war.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They were both colonized by the Italians, and
I have a friend I used to work with years ago
mm-hmm.
who was like Ethiopian. Like he would go to Ethiopia. He was the one.
So that is a really, really intense heritage to have. And then he was a member of the Rolling 60s. Nipsey?
Yeah.
Okay, so was he one? Okay, because you know how like some rappers like really sort of exaggerate their gang past.
He was in the gang.
Okay, he wasn't like
a lot of them. Let's just put it this way, and a lot of people don't know this, and I'm going to say this. I work in a prison. There's different associations of gang members. Just because a guy isn't shooting nobody doesn't mean they're not in a gang.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys in the gang that just make money. There's guys in the gang that are drug dealers. There's people that just hang around gangs, and they could be part of a gang, but don't do all the stuff that the gang do, the hardcore stuff, but are still in the gang.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different phases of being in the gang.
Yeah.
So now I don't know if he's the hardest one in the gang.
Yeah.
But he is a Rolling 60 Crip.
Okay. Yeah. Because, my God, it's like, look at this. Look at the heritage of this guy. Okay, he has this, like, really, Ethiopian and, and then a gang, an African-American with, like, the gang. I mean, that's a lot. That's a really
very much a lot.
Intense heritage. And... Okay, so just making sure I got everything about the rescued migrants. They hijacked the ship. Okay, and then they were rescued and the European Union is going to stop its sea patrols in the Mediterranean after the Italian government threatened to veto the EU's entire operation in the waters, and they will continue training the Libyan Coast Guard. Yeah, basically the Libyan Coast Guard that is basically out like snatching people and bringing them back. This is bad. This is just all really pretty bad. Okay, so that's Eritrea. Okay, do I have anything else about? I did, but okay. We're gonna take a break.